think water's fast? You should see ice. It moves like it has a mind. Like it knows it killed the world once. It got a taste for murder. When the avalanche came, it took us a week to climb out. And somewhere, we lost hope. Now, I don't know exactly when we turned on each other. I just know that 7 of us survived the slide, and only 5 made it out. Now, we took an oath that I'd break him now. Swore that we said it was the snow that killed the other 2. But it wasn't. Nature can be lethal, but it doesn't hold a candle to man. Now, you've seen how bad things can get and how quick they can get that way. Well, they can get a whole lot worse. So we're not going to fight anymore. We're going to pull together and we're going to find a way to get out of here. First, we're going to seal off this
Oh my god, that scene was so epic. I had to play that at the beginning of this video because, I mean, it's pretty much what you would have called the whole definition of a great shark movie. So, I am Awesome Joe, and thank you very much for taking in the time of your day to watching another one of my epic videos of Awesome Joe's playback-to-back movie reviews. And this video is based on the special occasion of the fact that we are getting such an awesome movie coming out into theaters. Jason Statham versus The Meg. And it's being released today. So, after this video, I'll be on my way over to the movie theater to go and watch these two clash back to back. So I'm really happy and excited for it. I can't wait to see how this is going to turn out. I haven't seen any other reviews, nor have I heard any spoilers, nor have I seen any Rotten Tomato ratings yet for it. So I'm going to walk into this movie very blindly and hoping for the best. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about shark movies, and we have a good handful bunch to talk about here. So let's go ahead and get started here, you guys. So we're going to start this off with Deep Blue Sea, and this movie is directed by Rennie Largan, and it is starring Thomas Jane. We got Saffron Burrows, Samuel L. Jackson's in this. We got LL Cool J as well, Stellan Skarsgård. We got also Michael Rappaport. And this movie, I don't believe I watched this movie when I was a kid when it hit theaters. I think I watched it back in the day when Blockbuster was still around, and I don't believe I've ever had a slightest moment of watching this movie to where I was bored. It was very entertaining. It was very awesome to watch, and I had a great time having to watch this movie. This movie is about these several scientists who are trying to develop a cure for Alzheimer's, and by doing so, they're testing on sharks. And when they succeed in that discovery, these sharks have a side effect of becoming smarter, much more faster, much more aware of their senses. So it puts them all into a dangerous position to where they try to find a way to escape and destroy the facility, and killing everyone in the mix. So that's what brings all of our characters into this picture, having to getting themselves fighting for survival, getting themselves out of their endangerment. So and it's a great, interesting movie. I don't know if you guys have watched this movie yet or not. If you guys are shark lovers, I believe you guys have watched this already, and knowing that it is a great and amazing movie. But professionally wise, I'd have to say that the director of this movie really took a toll on this, really shifted this in a different direction, having to make this not as interesting or meaningful as it should be. Say, for example, all the actors and actresses, I believe that they're all great. It's just that I don't believe that they did a great job in this movie. Say, for example, Samuel L. Jackson. We all know Sam Jackson is an amazing actor. He does a lot of great work in a lot of great films, but I find it that this character that he plays in this movie to be highly annoying, which is why I laugh at the part where he gets eaten, because it's like, thank God, finally this guy is gone. I really didn't like him at all. So that's my point on it all. But otherwise, I really do enjoy this movie. It's a great flick. I don't really feel like this movie should deserve a very low rating per se, just like how Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 56%. And for me, professionally wise, I'd have to say that this movie is at a higher ranking of a 71%. And I think that it's very suitable to be around that area. So that's my review for Deep Blue Sea. If you guys have a different take on as to what you think about this movie, you can always comment on the section in the bottom, and we can have an awesome conversation regarding towards this film or any of the other films we're going to be talking about today. So let's go ahead and jump on to the next film here, guys. So up next, we'll be talking about 47 Meters Down. So this one's a little bit more interesting because this one was just released about a couple of years ago, and I wasn't really too aware of the movie being made or in production. And it was actually taken place immediately right after when we got the release of The Shallows with Blake Lively, which we'll be talking about later on in the video. But the way I see it is that I think that since we had such a great success with several shark flicks, that they wanted to go ahead and take things a little bit differently, because we've experienced the world of sharks above the waters, and now we're going to be experiencing it in their own world, which is under the water, which is why this movie is called 47 Meters Down. And I think that it's very interesting. It's a very original flick. I think that the acting is very terrible. I don't think that Mandy Moore is a brilliant actress nor a good actress at all, period, because I find her character also annoying in this movie. And I love the original idea. I love where this is being taken towards. It's sort of similar to the film that I recently watched, 127 Hours. I don't know if you guys are aware of that movie with James Franco, and I don't want to get into too much detail, but it's sort of similar to that. It's a fight for survival, of course, but it's in only the smallest situation that actually turns out to be a huge issue. And I feel like the director of this movie, which is Johannes Roberts, I think that he did a very terrible job directing this film. I love on how the production is made, on how the screenplay is taken toll, on how the graphics are, and I love everything about the film. It's just, don't get me wrong, it's just that professionally wise, I feel like this movie didn't really reach up to its expectations as much as on how The Shallows did. Like I said, it's a great successful film that we will be talking about later on within the video. But in the meantime, 40 Meters Down, on Rotten Tomatoes, they gave it a 55%. And the way I look at it is that it's a little bit lower ratings for me by giving it a 43%. It's not as highly rememberable as most shark flicks would be. But I would have to give credits to the fact of the ending of the film, because I love twists and turns at the ending to where you expected things to go the way that you would expect them to be, but then in the end things start to shift to a different toll, to becoming a much more interesting film by having a very interesting ending. So that's my take on 47 Meters Down. I really am enjoying having to talk about these flicks with you guys because sharks are so amazing. They are the oldest, most dangerous creatures on the planet, and like I said, I'm so excited to go watch The Meg right now. And so we got a couple more films to talk about here before I head on out to the movie theater and watch this really great flick. So let's go ahead and jump off to the third film here that we're going to talk about here, guys. So we're going to make things a little bit more interesting by talking about some really great shark flicks, which is The Shallows. Now, this movie was also released several years ago. I believe it was back in 2016. And this movie is directed by Jermaine Caliet Serra. And it's starring, as we all know, Blake Lively. We've got Oscar Jayenda. We've got Brett Cullen and Sedona Lake. And this is a very small cast, of course, and I like things just to be very simple and to the point, not to be crowded with so many characters, and it just gets straight to the point. Very simple story. You have this character that Blake Lively is playing, and she's gone to this beach out in Mexico, and she's out surfing, and then all of a sudden she gets attacked by a shark. And she's stranded on a reef and trying to find her way on how to survive by making her way back into the mainland without getting killed by the shark. And it's, like I said, very simple, very on to the point. And this movie was brilliantly done. I'm not very familiar with the director of this film and what his work is, but based off of this film only, I'd have to say that he did a really great job having to put this movie through successfully well. When I remember when I first saw the trailer for this film when it was first released, I was humongously terrified of the trailer alone because I love sharks as much as I am terrified of them. They are just so amazing. They're such amazing creatures, even though they are killing full machine like creatures, but yet they're just so fascinating. They're so great to watch. Like I said, this trailer terrified me, and I was curious as to how I was going to react towards the film once I watched it. And I had to say, through and through, from beginning to end, I loved it. It was so great. And I'd have to also agree with the fact that Blake Lively, she's a well-known actress, and I think that she's not a very terrible actress, but I think that she needs a little bit more work. But in this movie, I feel like she did incredibly well. I can tell that she has put herself more into the position of becoming an even better actress. And I would have to agree. She has become a much more better actress, a well-known person to have a great successful career in such films as this. And I admire the movie very much. And I would have to say that towards the ending, things seem to be a little bit more taking you out of the movie because, yes, I understand that it's so complicated nowadays having to film a computer graphic shark. Back in the days when they would do a man-made shark figure like in Jaws. So everything's now computer made, and having to see it's some of it just takes me out of the movie. And the way that everything goes down towards the ending and how everything goes happily ever after, so on and so forth. I feel like it was a little bit of a letdown. I kind of felt like maybe this film could have been more successful if we had a twist and turn at the end. But all in all through, I'd have to still say it's still a great flick. I would really very much love to watch this movie in theaters again if I had the chance to, if it were to ever be an opportunity such as that. And on Rotten Tomatoes, they gave this movie a really great ranking of a 78%, which is very fresh. And for me, I'd have to give it a fresh rating of giving it an 80%. It's a really great movie. But like I said, not all movies are perfect. They have their tolls, they have their errors. There's some good things about the flick, but there's also some bad things also. So, but an 80%, I feel, is a very satisfying rating for a movie such as this, The Shallows. So we're done with this. If you guys have any different opinions based off of this movie, you can always leave a comment in the section at the bottom, and we can have an awesome conversation regarding towards this flick or any of the movies in general. So let's go ahead and jump off to the last film here, guys. You guys guessed it, the one that started it all, Jaws. One of Steven Spielberg's epic classics, back in 1979, Jaws. And we've got starring Roy Snyder, we've got Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss, Lorraine Gary, and Murray Hamilton. And this movie is so amazingly awesome. I watched this movie the other day, and it's just a fresh reminder on how great this movie is. You don't even get to see the shark until pretty much practically at the very ending of the movie, but the fact is on how everything is just so built up, and how you get all these character build-ups, you get the story build-up, you get that amazing opening scene where this young girl, she goes swimming, and the next she's eaten by the shark, and I don't know, it's so epic, it's so rememberable, it's just so amazing. I mean, you can never have a really great movie that is so much awesome as Jaws. And we're going to forget about Jaws 2, Jaws 3, and Jaws the Revenge. None of that, it doesn't even matter. Those are all garbage. Jaws 1 is the one that is just so freaking epic. I mean, Roy Scheider's character is the sheriff of this town called Amity, and he tries, once they discover this girl at the beginning of the movie who was killed, he tries to close the beach off, but the mayor of the town is very much against that, and he tries to keep the beach open so that way they could raise money to keep the town going. Because if he feels like the beach closes, then the whole town will downfall. And it really puts a lot of people at risk when they go swimming in that ocean, and having to know that there is this giant great white shark lurking around their shorelines. So this movie is just so great. If you guys have not gone out to watch Jaws yet, you guys gotta watch this movie. I mean, it is so great. I mean, yes, I know it was released back into the 1970s, but it's still up to date. It's still great. I hope that this movie never gets remade. This is one of the movies that should never ever be touched, especially when they made sequels to it. Just leave the movie alone. It's so great as it is back then and even now. So and on Rotten Tomatoes, they gave it a 97%, which I highly agree. It's a great movie, but I love it enough to give it an awesome 100%. I rarely give this percent out because, like I said, most movies, they have their issues, they have their problems. Not every movie is perfect, but this one, I would have to say it's perfect 100% through and through, from beginning to end. I can never get enough of watching Jaws. So if you guys have a different opinion, you can always comment in the section in the bottom and give me your different ideas, your different opinions as to what you guys think about this movie or any of the movies that we have discussed with today. So I'm Awesome Joe, and thank you very much for taking in the time to watching my video. You guys are such a huge inspiration to me and what I do. It's a great personal hobby of mine. I love to talk about movies, but more importantly, I love to talk about them with you. So I'm Awesome Joe, and as always, stay awesome, and I will see you guys later. I am going